A couple gets married. They save for months and hire a photographer, and the pictures come back beautiful. The vows, the tears, the first dance. They frame their favorite one and hang it over the fireplace, and a year later they want a few extra prints to send to family. So they take that photo to a local print shop. And the clerk stops them. They cannot legally copy it, they're told. Not because it's a trick, and not because anyone's being difficult, but because that photograph, the one of their own faces, on their own wedding day, that they paid thousands of dollars for, does not belong to them under the law. Sit with how strange that is. You are in the picture. You paid for the picture. And you still can't make a copy of it without someone else's permission. This isn't a loophole or an accident. It's the default rule, and it decides who owns every photograph you appear in, the wedding shots, the school portraits, the snap a tourist took of you smiling in a park. So before we go further, ask yourself the question this whole video turns on. When someone takes a picture of you, who do you think owns it? Most people are certain they know. Most people are wrong. Here is the rule that surprises almost everyone. In the United States and in most of the world, copyright in a photograph belongs to its author, and the author is not the person in the frame. It's the person who created the image. In plain terms, whoever presses the shutter generally owns the photo. That's it. The moment the picture is taken and saved, the law calls this the moment it's fixed. Copyright springs into existence automatically, and it lands in the hands of the photographer. No paperwork. No copyright symbol required. No registration needed for it to exist. The instant the shutter clicks, an invisible piece of property is created, and it belongs to the one holding the camera. To see how strictly the law ties ownership to the act of creating the image, look at one of the strangest disputes in modern copyright. A nature photographer left his camera within reach of wild monkeys in a forest, and one of them picked it up and triggered the shutter, producing a now famous grinning self-portrait. When the question of ownership blew up, officials took the position that copyright can only belong to a human being, an animal can't hold it. The picture existed, but the law had to hunt for a human author. Nobody in that fight ever argued the obvious-seeming thing, that the monkey, the subject, the face in the photo, owned it. Because being the subject of a photograph has never been what the law rewards. Creating it is. So why does the person in the picture walk away with nothing? Because copyright protects an act of creation, not an act of appearing. The law is trying to reward the choices that make an image, where to stand, how to frame it, when to catch the light, which fraction of a second to freeze. Those are the photographer's choices. You standing there, even if it's your face, your child, your whole family, is, in the eyes of copyright, the raw material, not the creative work. It feels backwards, and emotionally it is. That's your memory. That's the most important day of your life. But the law draws a hard line between owning a moment and owning the picture of a moment, and you simply cannot own a copy of your own face by being attached to it. This is exactly why the wedding couple gets stopped at the print shop. The photographer owns the copyright to those images the instant they're taken, and copyright is the exclusive right to make copies. What the couple actually bought, unless their contract said otherwise, wasn't the photographs, it was prints, and permission to enjoy them. The ownership of the underlying image never left the photographer's hands. And this same rule governs the snapshot a stranger takes of you, the photo a friend posts of you online, the picture a company uses of you. As a starting point, the copyright sits with the shooter, and you, the subject, hold no piece of it at all. Now here's the twist that keeps this from being a total defeat for the person in the picture. Not owning the copyright does not mean you're powerless, because there's a second, completely separate right hiding underneath all of this, and it's yours. It's often called the right of publicity, and in some places it overlaps with privacy law. It says that even if a photographer owns the copyright to a photo of you, they generally can't take your face and use it to sell something, slap it on an ad, a product, a billboard, without your consent. Think about what that means. Two different people can hold two different rights in the exact same photograph. The photographer owns the copyright. They control copying, printing, licensing the image as an image. But you own something about your identity, your likeness, your face, its commercial value. So a photographer can own a picture of you outright and still not be allowed to sell it to a soda company for a campaign, because that crosses from using the photo into using you. This is why, on professional shoots, you're asked to sign a piece of paper called a model release, a document where you give permission for your likeness to be used in specific ways. That release isn't about copyright, the photographer already has that. It's about buying the one right the photographer doesn't automatically get, the right to use your face commercially. Two rights, two owners, one photograph. So the default is clear: shooter owns the copyright, subject owns their likeness, but almost every real situation is decided by fine print that quietly moves those lines. The first mover is the contract. Copyright can be handed over, but only in a signed writing, so a wedding couple who wants to truly own their photos has to negotiate that up front and get it in writing, otherwise they're getting prints and a license, not ownership. The second is a doctrine called work made for hire. If a photograph is taken by an employee as part of their job, the copyright can belong to the employer from the very start. The person who pressed the shutter never owns it at all. The same can happen with certain commissioned works when both sides sign an agreement calling it work made for hire. The third mover is the license, the invisible permission slip that runs through modern life. When you buy a print, you're getting a license. And when you upload a photo to a social platform, you are almost always agreeing, in terms of service most people never read, to grant that platform a broad license to use what you post. You keep your copyright, but you've handed over sweeping permission to a company. Contracts, work for hire, and licenses are where the simple rule meets the real world, and where people who assume they own their own images discover, in the fine print, that they gave that ownership away or never had it. So what does all of this actually mean the next time a camera points at you? Start with the wedding, because it's the clearest lesson. Before you hire a photographer, read what you're buying. Are you getting ownership of the images, or a license to print them? Do you get the full resolution files with the right to make your own copies, or just the prints they choose to sell you? Ask, and get the answer in writing, because after the shutter clicks it's far harder to claw back. Second, remember the split. If a stranger, a friend, or a company takes a photo of you, they probably own the copyright. But if anyone tries to use your face to sell a product, that's your likeness, and your consent generally matters. Third, when you post your own photos online, know that you're keeping your copyright but likely granting the platform a wide license buried in the terms you agreed to. And notice the deeper lesson under all three. We move through a world where we are photographed constantly, by friends, by strangers, by cameras on every street, and most of us walk around assuming that a picture of our own face somehow belongs to us. The law says almost the opposite. Being in the picture gives you nothing automatically, while creating it gives someone else nearly everything. Your protection isn't ownership of the image, it's knowing that your likeness is a separate right, and reading the fine print before you sign it away. So here's the real question to leave you with. Right now, think of the last photo someone took of you. Who do you think legally owns it, and after everything you just heard, are you still sure? Tell me in the comments who you think should own a photo of your face, the one who took it, or the one who's in it.